when you take away the fluff and you boil everything down with your agency, the biggest factor that will go towards your success over anything is you doing the needle moving tasks, right? If you boil down what you need to do to be successful with the agency, at the end of the day, that's what it comes to, right? Doing tasks that are actually needle moving. And so arguably, probably the best way that you can actually do those tasks is set up a proper routine, okay? So what I want to do with this video is going to be a different style of video. We're going to hop in tomorrow and I'm going to show you step by step exactly what a perfect routine could look like for you, okay? So implement this. Maybe you're going to implement the entire day. Maybe you have school or you have work, you have to implement only parts of it. But if you can make your day as much as the one I'm about to show you, then you're really in for a good chance for success, okay? But before that, if you don't know who I am, I'm Matt. I built an agency and now I'm building a coaching business, kind of teaching people what I did with my agency and still do with the coaching business. And the whole goal with everything we're doing there is to help early stage agency owners hit that every month, okay? So not going to waste any more of your time. Let's get straight into tomorrow and I'm going to show you exactly what that daily routine actually looks like. Okay, so the first thing that you can see is that really the day starts the night before, right? So the first thing that we actually have is a planning time. So we want to take about 30 minutes, right? And the night before, we're basically going to be planning tomorrow. So what we're going to have in some of these boxes is we're going to have like work periods. And in those work blocks, what we're going to do the night before is plan out what specifically are you actually going to be doing inside those work blocks, right? So maybe if we have like a deep work block the night before, you can plan like, okay, I'm going to record these 2 videos and I'm going to do this outreach in this time, right? You want to clearly define at what times are you actually going to be doing the work. And so for make it very simple, what is the work? Well, we have, for the agency space, there's really only 4 things that you actually need to be doing. It's getting sales calls, closing sales calls, delivering services, and just becoming like better and working yourself through like your paradigm and your mindset and things like that. So really, those are the only 4 things. So in all of the deep work box, those are the really only 4 things that you need to do, right? But you spent that night before kind of planning out what specifically you're going to be doing, right? So that then leads us to this. So as you can see, we kind of have like 2 paths and then those both connect into one, okay? So let's reveal the first 2. You can either do eat the frog or gym, right? So eat the frog is a pretty common thing, but what it is, I'll just explain for you. What it is basically, if you have a 3-course meal, like a 3-course dinner, like an entree, a main, dessert, when would you rather eat the frog? If you have to eat a frog, like if there was like a frog in front of you, would you rather eat it before or after? Or when would you eat it? The correct answer is before. The best thing that you can do is eat it before the meal and just kind of get it out of the way, right? So this is the same with work. Eat the frog task is basically the hardest task and most important task for you to do, just doing it straight away. Or gym. And just like personal preference, I have a smoothie before the gym because, you know, this is complete bro science and it's not true. But like, you know, as you know, and as you'll see with the meals I'll talk about later on, you don't want to be having a lot of carbs during your work days. So the best time for me personally that I've seen to get carbs in is before the gym. So that's when I'm going to have like honey or mixed berries or anything like that. It's before the gym, right? So and the next thing is basically the same things but alternated, right? So if you eat the frog task first, you'll then do the gym. If you do the gym first, you'll then do eat the frog. And just a heads up, this should take about around 2 hours, and so should this, right? So 2 hours, or in total, I guess, 4 hours for eat the frog and gym. So the way to find out whether you should do eat the frog task first or gym first is basically on what the eat the frog task is. So if the eat the frog task is something like recording that you can do at any time, then do it first, right? Ideally, you're doing the eat the frog task first. The only reason you wouldn't is because if that task is something that you can't do in the hours that you wake up. So let's say you wake up at 7 a.m. So the eat the frog task would be to do 150 cold calls. But if you wake up at 7 a.m., you can't start cold calling at 7:05 specifically in the home improvement niche, right? So you go to the gym first, and you come home at 9:30, and then you can do that eat the frog task because now the home improvement people are about and they'll pick up, right? So it depends, but obviously if you can, you're gonna be doing the eat the frog task first. Okay? So then from these 2, these guys kind of both come in to the next thing. So we'll reveal it now. It is habits and then deep work 1. So habits is a bit smaller, as you can see. This should take between 5 to 15 minutes. And if you want like a really basic thing, if you don't know anything, if you've never done any habits before, just do a 5-minute meditation, right? You can literally just go on YouTube and just search up 5-minute meditation, right? And come through. Literally just do this one, right? Very simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Just do a 5-minute guided meditation with good feel, right? Super easy. Then deep work 1. So this should be between 2 to 4 hours. And remember, this is the one that you planned out, and well, this is one of many that you planned out the night before, right? So remember, it's doing one of those 4 things that actually need moving and actually get you closer towards your goal. Okay. Then next thing is meal in brackets good. So what do I mean by good? Well, there's 2 rules for this meal specifically. Number 1, whole foods. Number 2, 0 carbs. So we have more work to do after this, right? So we don't want to have like eat 200. We don't want to eat 200 carbs and have like a massive carb crash after this meal, right? So we want to eat a meal that's whole foods, and it's probably something like steak or chicken, something that like fills you up at least to an extent, but doesn't like make you super full. It doesn't give you a carb crash. Because after this, the next thing that we're doing is debug 2. So basically more of the same, right? So this meal, maybe between 30 to 1 hour, right? If you're cooking it, maybe it's an hour, 30 minutes, right? And then debug 2, once again, 2 to 4 hours, right? Very, very, very simple. It's the exact same as this one. It's one of the 4 things, and you planned out specifically what we're going to do in this block and the each frog task the night before, right? So this is, as I said, this is where they start. This is really the most important thing, is planning out your day properly, right? And then we have meal in brackets okay. So what do I mean by this? So meal in good means no whole foods. I'm sorry, only whole foods. Don't do no whole foods, please. Only whole foods and no sugar, right? Meal okay means hopefully all whole foods. But if you have like a dough or something, it's not really as important, and as many carbs as you want. And this is the cool thing here is this, like after this, we don't have any more of the work that's like on the big 4 things that you need to do, right? So you can have as many carbs as you want. So this maybe takes you 1 hour because maybe it's a big meal, right? So by this time, it's like 7, 8 p.m., right? So the next thing after this okay meal is your 80% tasks. So debug 2, debug 1, eat the frog, is doing the 20% tasks that give you the 80% of the results. And then the 80% tasks is doing the 80% tasks that give you the 20% of results. So this is really, really stupid shit that isn't as important. Like maybe it's fixing a spelling error on your website, right? You don't need to be locked into this. You can have carbs for this. It doesn't really matter. You're doing very simple, less important work. And honestly, I wouldn't even plan this part, right? Because it's not as important. It's just kind of getting that urge to do like non-moving tasks kind of out of your brain, right? And you're only doing this after you've done like let's say 3, 6, like 8 hours of deep, important, needed moving work, right? That's only after that work is when you're doing these 80% less important tasks, right? And then after that, we have the same thing as here is planning, right? So get rid of this, is plan, right? So just recap, right? So we start from planning, right? You have to plan what you're doing the night before, then eat the frog, gym, eat the frog, whichever one it is, whichever kind of way makes sense for you based on what the task is for you eat the frog, right? Then habits, then debug 1, 2 to 4 hours, then you have a meal that's good with no whole foods, no carbs. Debug 2, same thing, 2 to 4 hours. You planned it the night before. Then a meal that's okay. So hopefully it's all whole foods, but it's okay if it's not, and as many carbs as you want, right? And then 80% less important tasks, and then you plan once again for the next day, right? So it should like constantly look like this, right? Because your day really starts the night before. Yeah. So very, very important stuff. As I said, this day really is just designed for you to be as productive as possible and get you to your goals as fast as possible, right? So obviously you're gonna have school, you're gonna have work. Not all of your days are gonna look exactly like this, but if you can make your day look even 20% closer to this, then you're already doing something right? Obviously, if you can, then make your day exactly this, and you're really good to go. You're really doing everything right. Yeah. So obviously, if you found this valuable, please do all the YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. And if you are an early stage agency owner, meaning you're making between 0 and 5K per month, then there's a link, the first link in the description, that's for you. Obviously no pressure, of course, but if you want to know more about what we do, then you can click it. And one last thing, which I always say, is however long this video's been, like, I don't know, like 7-10 minutes, you've made it through that. So like whatever situation you're in, you've listened, you've had that attention span and the discipline to sit here and listen to me yap about timetables for 10 minutes. Right, so that already tells me that you're doing the right thing. You're ahead. You're not doom scrolling on TikTok. You don't have a fried attention span, and you're doing the right thing. Right? So I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.